All right, Paul Kim here, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit different. I wanted to push back the topic that I was originally going to talk about today, and I decided to push back a week, and decided to do office hours and basically answering Q&A. Now, if you want to get on um, basically on with me, right? I am going to put a link. I also asked my assistant to put that link in my YouTube live description. And I'm also going to put that link here. And let me see if I clicked on it. Hopefully everybody will be able to see that. Let me try to see if, yeah, you can't really click on it when you're actually watching this, but anyway, the description will be there. So if you decide you want to join me and ask questions live on video, you can use that link, um, and I can actually put you on. And if you ask your questions, and I will try to answer. But one of the things that I've done in my Facebook group, I typically ask. I have a couple. I have two, three Facebook group that I actually monitor, and in those Facebook group, I usually typically ask, what are you currently struggling with? And some of the questions, I'm just going to go over some of the questions, and I thought that this would be a good time for me to go over them, right? Um, Specifically, when it comes to one of the groups that I run is with the high level, specifically asking questions or community built around high level, and the questions that I get, the number one, the top two are typically converting, right? Which basically means sales, right? Sales, and number two has to do with tech. Um, I'll go over sales and converting. Okay. And I'm going to talk generally, briefly about that. So when it comes to sales and converting, I think most businesses, whether you're 1 year into your business or whether you're 2 years into this business, or for that matter, 5 year into the business, you need to be spending a lot of time or allocating budget to marketing, right? And you can't stop. It has to be something that you have to constantly put effort into marketing, right? Marketing, whether it's I'm not a big fan of paid ads, but there are times when you need to do paid ads because that is the fastest way for you to generate leads. The thing I don't like about running ads is that, you know, there's a lot of things. People think that you just run Facebook ads and boom, you get leads. No, it's you're gonna get a lot of leads that are not gonna convert, and that's because you are running ads on social media, which you're in. It's basically interruption, right? So those are really cold, and the percentage of conversion is going to be very low, right? But I think there are times for that, right? And so what I was alluding to is that people run ads and just throw money away and giving it to the Facebook Foundation, Gutenberg, um, Zuckerberg, okay, and just basically putting money and throwing money away, right? Unless you know what you're doing. There's a lot of things when it comes to running ads, like you have to run funnels. You have to make sure that the copy on the page is converting, images, um, the when if you're not converting, then you have to look at what is working and what is not working. So there's a lot involved in that. So, but there are instances where it does work, right? But um, for most people that are starting out in any type of business, whether you're building a SaaS, building a marketing agency, or for that matter, building, growing your local business, I wouldn't say cold outreach. Basically, your friends and referrals, friends, your sphere of influence is the number one place to start, right? Because they know you and like you. well, where I see a lot of times people making mistakes is that they are trying to sell, 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 right? No, you're not. You don't want to do that. That's one of the the mistakes that I made when I first started business is that, you go to your friends and family and expect them to sell. No, you are not. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be going to your sphere of influence, your friends and family, and let them know about what you're doing and let them know that, hey, this is what I do. If you know of anybody, please refer them to me, right? That's really, there's no sales involved. There's no, pitching to them, right? And if they're your friends, they should be willing to help you, right? That's a whole different story. So let me just make sure that that people can hear me. So I'm gonna just let me know if you hear me. Okay. Sometimes I have uh, sometimes it doesn't work for whatever reason. Now, when you have listed all your friends, and your sphere of influence, and you go to them one by one and you reach out to them sincerely and basically ask them to refer you business. It's as simple as that. No pitching. This is where most people get it wrong, and you're like selling to them, like, and this is where you may lose your friends, right? So you don't want to do that, right? Then the second part, after you've done that, and from your list of sphere, you should be getting people referrals and possibly some friends that might be interested, right? The second portion, or the second part of that, is where you actually, uh, you know, I would say cold calling is an avenue, but if you want to really grow your business and scale, this is where you really need to, I guess, number one is master what you do, right, and be good at it, and actually deliver results and solve a problem for your clients or customers. And then once you have that, then you can go and build referral partners, right? Referrals, or uh, s- you know uh, get to know or connect with and network with people that their sphere of influence are people that um, that is your avatar, right? That's your audience, and it's not a one-way street. It has to be a two-way street. What does that mean? That means that you have to really build relationship where you give that that person, the other person, business, and vice versa. So it has to be a more giving than taking, right? And that's really most important. Okay. um and then there are other avenues that you can look into, but on top of that, when you're building that active, where you're using your, I call it active or sweat equity, um, you need to still continue to build your online presence, where this is where uh, my core competency, or my skill is basically building your local SEO or building your online presence. Because 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, if you continue to do that, then people will find you organically, right? So like what I'm doing right now, I'm doing YouTube. Actually, this is not YouTube live, but I'm streaming to multiple platforms and pushing out content, sharing my knowledge, and building my brand at the same time. Okay. All right. Um, so let me continue to go over some. So in terms of converting, now this is where um, I think a couple of number one mistake that I think a lot of people make when they're talking to a prospect, and um, this is where, in terms of sales, you have to go into the discussion, or this one-on-one conversation, like, you don't really need their, like, like, at the end of the day, even though you need their business, you really have to be in a position and be confident to say that, don't rely on the outcome to dictate the relationship. So what I mean by that is that going to the going to the discussion with the goal to solve their problem, to really solve their problem and give them a solution, right? And whether they decide to move forward or not, that's their decision. You cannot There's no convincing. You should not convince, because if you start being in that position of convincing, then you really are giving power to them, right? And so ultimately, you want to give them, and ultimately, what if they decide to do it? Because I would say majority of the time, the solution, if they can execute that solution, then your solution or your unique selling proposition is not unique enough that they can actually execute it themselves, right? But majority of time, what I've noticed is that um, the solution you can provide to them, even if you give it to them, they're not going to execute because they're too busy in their business, right? If they're not too busy in their business, that they're not the right avatar. They may not be the right avatar for you. But so go into that saying, hey, this is it. You know, do yes or no, right? If they say no, this is not the right time, then move on and put them in your CRM or put them on your pipeline, Google Sheet, whatever, Excel spreadsheet to follow up at a specific time, right? So prime example is I have I give you an example of um, a potential client that I've been discussing for over a year, and I've been following up with this person for over a year, right? Um, and I put in my calendar to follow up with him 3 months, and then he came back and he decided to go with somebody else. Fine with me, right? But I still followed up with him, and even after he went with somebody else, he basically came back and is in the same position he was a year ago, right? So what I'm saying in that situation is that, not everybody's timing is right. Just because somebody gives a lower price solution does not mean that that solution is going to work. And so that's where you come back and follow up. So the way that my position is when it comes to sales, I keep on following up until they say, "Hey, we don't need you," or you can stop. But you know, not right. They may not need the solution now at that time, but they will need the solution eventually. Okay, that's the way you should think of it. Okay, and this is where follow up. The money is in the follow up. Okay. All right. So let's go on and talk about starting. So the question about starting, like a lot of people have a hard time starting, right? A lot of times people have a hard time starting is because there's so many options out there. So when do you ever go to, for example, like this is like it's really a struggle for me. When my wife tells me to go to the supermarket, I always give this analogy. When my wife tells me to go to the supermarket and she tells me to get like you know sugar, right? I was like, and you go to the aisle and look at the sugar, and there's like so many different options out there. Which one do I get? So whenever I go to the supermarket, I always tell her like, just can you take a picture of specifically what you want me to get, so that way I don't have to like go through this and trying to figure out what is what. And even if she asked me to get brown sugar, like how many brown sugars are there, right? So the same problem comes when people are trying to start their business, or let's just say you're thinking of starting a marketing agency, right? Um, so many things to do. You could do marketing, helping businesses with social media, helping businesses with Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, YouTube ads. You can help people with content marketing. You can help them with SEO, local SEO. So many options out there. And so, what do you do in that scenario, right? So, my advice on that with regard to, how do you start? You just got to start, and whoever you will, like if you see a business or a friend that needs help, then hey, I'll give you a discount on helping you out. Let me help you and get results. and that's how you start. And that's exactly how I started with my marketing agency back in 2016. Okay. All right. um, what are you currently struggling with? Sales and support. So support is a it's yeah, I think support, right? And when you first start your business, you are basically a solopreneur. You are the admin, you are marketing, you are sales, you are support, you are service, you are legal. So, and then at a certain point, when you're ready to scale, then you have to make sure that you build systems, right? You build systems to for operations, and that's a whole different. I could go into that and talk about that. Um, but we're not going to go into that. But what I would say is that everything that you do in your business, like as a solopreneur, you need to make sure that you're documenting everything. I know it's hard, right? Um, Especially as entrepreneurs, we have very little patience to do things that are not exciting, right? And so documenting processes and writing these processes, it's not exciting, but it is something that you need to do as you if you want to grow and scale your business. All right. um, Question of what are you struggling with, and this person wrote everything. So I'm looking at a document that I use for those that are not familiar with. There's a platform called face Group Collector. So I will put the link in the description. So what that does is basically it collects. Let me see if I can pull it out and share it. Let me see if let me see if I can pull this and see if it's available. If it's not, all right. So let me share my screen and I'll share with you. So if you do run a Facebook group, and I would definitely recommend this um, platform because it does. All right, so here it is. So I run these three Facebook groups, and each of the Facebook group has various different number of people. And so what this does is that basically the membership questions that are asked, it pulls those questions and then puts it into a Excel spreadsheet. I'm not going to share it because does have email addresses of people, so I'm not going to uh, put that. I'm not going to share that screen. So all of the questions, emails, if I ask for it, the questions, what are you currently struggling with, gets compiled into this sheet. Okay. Oh, actually, I forgot to share it. And so this is uh, Group Collector. I'll put the link to that platform below. And so what it does is that whenever my staff or myself go in and approves a person to be part of the group, it collects that information that they've written and then puts it into a Google sheet. All right. And that's what I'm reading off of. Okay. Just FYI for those. And I would definitely recommend that if I'll probably do a video in the future on how to set it up. Pretty simple, but I've done it so many times. It's like very simple to use. But if you don't know, they do give you instructions, but I'll probably do a I'll do a video in the future on how to set it up. Okay. But continuing on with, excuse me, with the additional questions. Let me go here. Um, Sales and support, another one. Learning. So this is specifically for HighLevel. The platform HighLevel is a very, I would say, so encompassing. There's a lot to learn. So as I said, if you're familiar with HighLevel and you want to sign up as an affiliate to get the platform, by all means, go ahead. But if you are a local business, I don't recommend getting the platform. I would definitely recommend getting somebody else that a marketing agency that actually has it and white labeled it. So in my case, I have my white label platform, which is pro360.io, and that's specifically geared towards small businesses. So anyway, moving on. Let's see. I am new, struggling with getting started. So I am pretty much. So okay. So let me talk about a little bit about so not having community. So this is kind of like building a community, and I think one of um, uh, the thing that I learned yesterday, Meetup has a great way of creating community. Okay, I knew this back in 2010 when I started doing meetups. I just haven't done it because they didn't allow online meetups. But it is something that I'm looking into, and I think it's a great avenue. So if you're just looking to build a community, Meetup is potentially a great way to do that. Okay. Um, let's see here. Um, let me see. I'm gonna do about a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap it up in 30 minutes. Um, I'm gonna go to another group, which is basically entrepreneurs, and gonna look into some of the questions. All right, so here's one. Need advice on marketing strategies that effectively and efficiently utilize my small budget. I would love to learn how to collect more contact, sell to distribute marketing via constant contact. Okay, so this is where um, if you have a small budget, right? So if you don't have a budget, that means you have a lot of time, right? Or maybe you may be working full time and you don't have time, right? So um, one of the most effective way to really is to share your knowledge, right? How you do that. One of the problems that if you just share your knowledge via social media, whether you're doing YouTube Live or whether you're doing Facebook Live or Instagram Live, is that you don't know how to collect. There's no way to collect information. There's no way to collect name and email, and so um, you have to create some sort of a way, a freemium, right, to collect that information, right? So yesterday I did a meetup, um, and in order for people to come to that event, they have to register on Zoom. And so when they registered on Zoom, that's where I get the name and email of the people that came to the meetup, right? So how do I automate it? I automated that process where I created a Zap, okay, or a Pably, right? It's just an integration where anybody that registered for that specific event, their information is passed along to another platform, right? In this case, it's my platform, Pro360, and that information is automatically added to Pro360, right? And that information gets processed through a workflow, basically a set of reminder emails that goes out automatically, right? And so that's how you need to execute it. So if you're using constant contact, then you would set up a zap where it would pass that information along to constant contact, and then you set up constant contact in such a way, right? It all depends on how you set it up, right? That when somebody comes into that constant contact, you'll set up a chain of emails that will go out according to a specific time. Now, not all email software has a trigger where it's based on a specific time of the event. Some email programs are timed like an email to go out 1 week later or 2 days later. You have to make sure that there's some sort of a timed event where it's based off of a time where if I have a meetup, like say today I had a YouTube live at 11, anybody that register, an email will go out a day before and 30 minutes as a reminder to come to the live, right? So not all email platforms have that. Pro 360 has that capability where we can send out emails and text message a day before and 30 minutes before. Now, everybody has their different preference of when to get reminded. That's really up to each individual person. All right. So let's go back and I hope that answers your question. Lark, I think it was Lark from the my entrepreneur Facebook group. Okay, let's go and take a look at. So here is another Anne Marie. She is technology is holding me back. So this is where you know a lot of times I see where people are not moving forward because of technology, right? In that case, you have to overcome it, either learn the platform, or if you're not technically inclined, then get help, right? Whether it's somebody um, through Fiverr, Odesk. Is it called Odesk? No, I think that's what it used to. Upwork. I think Odesk is like long time ago. I haven't used that platform in such a long time. Let me just make sure it's called Upwork. I think it's called Upwork. It's it used to be called long time ago Odesk. So so you know how far back I go now. I'm losing my voice. All right. So um and finding somebody and you're gonna know that if you hire somebody through overseas, they may know the tech, or they may know like but in terms of strategies and like you have to those come through experience, and you're gonna find that it's gonna be a little bit difficult to find those kind of strategists, or the stuff that comes through experience, right? um, and and just have to look for those type of people that can do those things. Like if somebody were to come to me and say, hey, can you run Facebook ads, I would not, you know if if a couple of years ago you would have asked me that, I would have thought about it and I would have potentially done it, but I would have probably referred that out because that's not my cup of tea, right? Although I do have something that is going to come out that's going to make it easy, but I'll make that announcement in the future, because I do know that that's a way to generate leads, right? So I can't ignore it. It is something that I've been working on, but it is time consuming to learn, right? Even like the stuff that I know, local SEO. I'm constantly learning new things. Like I went to um, the what is that? TNC, Traffic and Conversion Summit, and learned a lot of different things. And so you have to constantly learn your industry, your niche, right? Because otherwise, you can't fall behind, right? Anyway, we're on the 30-minute mark. So moving forward, I'm gonna do a little bit things a little bit different. This is an office hour, so I'm going to do office hours probably once a month, uh, last week, and that's what I did. That's why I made the decision to do the office hour today. So I'm gonna have office hours once a month the last week, and then moving forward into wow, we're going to March already. End of the first quarter. No, 1, 2, 3, no 4, no 3. Yeah, um, we are going to do. I'm gonna do uh, I still haven't decided whether I'm gonna do a Zoom where I'm gonna invite people and then do the presentation or talk about a certain topic and then do Q&A, um, or if I'm going to do these YouTube lives and invite people to come on board, right? Um, the like I said, the two things that I need to consider is, I'm gonna, my goal is number one is to um, create. Of course, number one is to provide value to whoever's watching and to provide value to whoever's attending. Number two is to collect name, email as well. all right? Because that is really, email database. Your email is the number one asset in you. Well, I would say number one. I would say it's very important to the growth of your business. All right. On that note, I thank you for watching, and I'm going to check to see if there's any messages on chat. Um, Write any comments, what you thought about this office hour. If you have any questions, by all means, write those questions and I will address them in the next office hour in March, the last week of March. All right. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. And I'm going to be talking about the blueprint to ranking on local SEO next week. I'm going to give the full blueprint out. Hopefully, I'll have one of the reasons also I wasn't prepared for it as well because I am still developing and making sure I give the most value to everybody that's going to show up. All right. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next week. Bye.